Good evening, everybody. I want to just quickly thank, before I start this video, the 4 people that watched my last video, and I thought I'd celebrate by making a follow-up to the dad joke video, where we build upon it. It wasn't going to be a multiple part sort of series, but I couldn't think of anything better to do for the time being. My creative juices aren't that great. So yeah, okay. So what I'm going to do today is I am going to use this lovely API called API Flash. Yeah, I know I'm showing everybody my API key, but I can just get a refresh one or delete afterwards, so it's not a big deal. So we're going to use this API Flash, which is an API that will simply allow you to just take a screenshot of the page, and that's what we're going to do here. We're going to take a screenshot of the joke, so I'll need to be able to work out exactly where you should put on the screen, and yeah, then the idea is that we will, in the next video, use the Twitter post API, so really sort of push the boat out and post our screenshots with our joke to Twitter. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to close this one. So you can, just looking at the documentation, you can specify your width and height. So we'll just do that rather than taking like a full page screenshot, but mind you, a full screenshot page would be fine with this one. Maybe you would want to just sort of get rid of this though. So anyway, so let's give this a shot, first as last. So the one thing I'm gonna need to do is make sure that we render out the image to we're going to need to render out the screenshot to an actual image, so I'm going to have to find out how to do that, but yeah, I'm sure it'll be fine. There's plenty of examples here, so oh look, you can download the file here. There's the Java version, and yeah, okay, fair enough. So I'm going to be using PHP. Professionally, I don't use PHP. I use ASP, but I'm going to use PHP for this time just because it's very sort of quick to just get a page up and get it working, so I don't really want a 40-minute video, so I'm going to shut up now. So let's reopen my Sublime, and let's open up this folder again. Project, let's talk about dad jokes, and we're selecting this folder. Let's just close that one, and here we go. So I have an HTML page. What I'm going to need to do, actually, yeah, we can cut it. Okay, cool. We're back to where we were. So I'm gonna just increase my font size because I know in my last video I did a lot of like zooming and editing and stuff, and I really don't want to spend all that time again. Just gonna this. Here we go. So I'm going to just check that this all works. I've had to move it across so that it would show. So that because we're writing in PHP, we kind of need a server. So I just needed to check that would work. Slash. Why did I have to be so convoluted with my names? My folder names, because this is going to be a nightmare to type. Okay. Okay. There we go. Perfect. Oh, took me so long to get that joke. Okay, so now that we have this set, we I think I'm gonna write this as a separate page, because I quite like it just being a normal sort of HTML page. So first thing I'm gonna do is look up how to do that bootstrap snippet thing again because I've forgotten that one. There we go. That was it. There we go. Let's get rid of. We're gonna keep this. I'll get rid of that. Cool. So we've got our page again. Okay. Cool. I'll put this over here a second. And I am going to took me ages to find this. That's the one I want. I even remembered last time. Okay. Okay. So we've got ourselves there. I'll try that one more time. So we've got ourselves all set up with our brand new PHP page. I'm gonna call this something other than index. Maybe like screenshot.php. Just because I'm probably gonna call it in a different. Probably just gonna call it in a different thing. Actually, I don't even need all this stuff. Actually. I probably don't need all this either. I just forget what it is to comment stuff. Okay, I'm just gonna go here, go to top of here. Okay, I'm just gonna There we go. So what's the important thing is this page is going to do all the processing. So okay, let's start the timer and let's go from there. So first thing I want to do is make a note of just to make a note of the just to make a note of what all this needs to be. So I'm just going to make a note of this and I'm going to pop it as a comment. So that's just our PHP tag. There we go. I'm just going to move this as a comment so I know what I'm using it for. So now I'm going to the first thing. So now I've got it. I know that's the example page. So what I'm going to need to do is store this as a variable. So say endpoint. Use endpoint is equal to. So we're just going to use this to begin with. Why does this always happen to me? Okay. Now, this is a really weird way of doing it. So what I'm going to do instead is this really cool thing. Well, I say cool thing. It's probably old, but it's where you build the query rather than just like using string concatenation. So we're going to just say access key. Actually, just use just so. So I know this is this. Page. I'm going to just say URL. URL. Yeah, let's call it URL. There's probably a better way to do it. So I'm just going to leave this now as I'm just going to leave this blank for now because I'm going to need to set this up on its own. I'm going to need to set it up on a tunneling system of some kind. So now we have that. So I'm just going to look at that syntax one more time. Luckily, it's the best thing about APIs with this. You don't actually need to do a huge amount of thinking. A lot of it will be sort of they'll give you examples, which is great, really. So yeah, so we have this thing called that. So we can say params equal to this. So this is a function to build to sort of build a HTTP query. So as we say, so this part here, this part of the query, anything from this question mark. So this is really good for like if you're doing quite big requests and query strings. So if you're like doing searches and stuff, like where you're searching by multiple filters, it's better than sort of having to know where your question marks or your ampersands are going to do, because this will kind of do it for you. So I'm going to use this, and we can then this takes an array. Let me just make this nice and there we go. I'm ultra precise about my arrays look, even though there's only like 2 things in it. So we're going to say, so now we're going to take this and say access key, and we're going to say the access key is equal to access key, and finally we can say URL is URL. You can see I've been working with C# lately, so oh no, that needs to go there. Yeah, I know I'm ultra thing about this, and this probably makes people mad because it's obviously taking up for more lines, but I like to do it this way just because it feels a lot more concise to me, and I can sort of read it more easily. So we could, so I'm now going to just, so now I think we can test this. So we're going to do what's called we're going to do a get request using file get content. So we're going to say data equal to file get contents, and then we're going to just say, so we need endpoint. So we need the endpoint. So this is us just building up the URL we want to request, and finally we add then the params to it. I hate this keyboard. I'm having to use a different keyboard, an old wired one, because my wireless one has run out of battery. So we'll keep this in here for later, but essentially, yeah, I'm not even gonna lie, I think this is more or less word for word what they've written in here. So it's really great that they've sort of done that and give you this nice little code example on how to do it really quickly. So yeah, I should be able to do that. Can I just echo out the data? Would that be right? Can I just do that? So I'm gonna give this, what I'm gonna do instead of just putting an empty URL, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use a get parameter. So I'm gonna say, oh, how did I even do that? Right, here we go. So URL, and we're going to use a get parameter. We're going to use the global get variable, and we're going to say URL. That's not a great way of doing it. So so we're going to say if is set get. So this will say get me the value within the URL query with the key of. So I'm going to say URL. If is set get URL, then URL. So we're going to get this is equal to get URL. We could probably be a bit more thing about this. I'm just going to pop this up here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give this just Google as its fallback, as opposed to leaving it as an empty string. So yeah, let's try this out and see what happens. That was weird. Oh, it's over this side, isn't it? Here we go. So here we go. So now I'm just going to say screenshot.php. What will it return me back? Not found. Key and URL. That is really interesting. Is it because of this? I wonder. Yeah, I feel like this is a very odd one. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try my URL parameter and just say google.com, and that's giving me the kind of same thing. Let's just do google.co. Just gave me sure. That is really interesting. Have I written it right? Oh, I see what I've done. Yeah, I've seen what I've done. Look, I'm missing this bit here. So okay. Let me check this one. Let's see if I'm reading this right. Oh, I see. So I need to put this in myself. Ah, that makes sense. I can't just willy-nilly just say endpoint and things. So I'm going to pop this in here. And there we go. Hopefully that'll fix it. And it's loading. Okay. Oh wow. Okay, so I'm guessing this is sort of, wow. Okay, that's interesting. So I guess it's because I'm trying to sort of get an image file out and I'm just trying to echo it. So I'm going to try and do, I'm going to just echo out an image and its source is equal to oh, this is not going to go well. I hate doing it this way. I know I can use some clever concatenation sort of techniques, but for this time, that is so, that's insane. So turns out I can't really render it that way. I'm guessing I just have to save it. Okay, well that's not a big deal. Okay, that's not a big deal. So okay, so I think this was a really bad way of trying to do it, but that's fine. So amateur hour. So we can now do this file put contents. So we can use the data. So that's the data. And then I need to give it a file name. So I think I can just call it screenshot and because yeah, screenshot and then date dot. Just do date, can you? I guess would that work? Let's find out. That was gonna work. Date expects at least one parameter. Okay. This is what happens when you don't use PHP all the time. You literally have to look at everything. So day. So I guess I just want, just give me, okay, so I guess I just want day, guess day, month, day. Yeah, that's pretty. Yeah, let's go with this. So day, month, year, hours. Fair enough. Do it that way. Okay, so one more time. Okay. And obviously I'm not putting in the file name, so let's have a look at this one more time. Yeah, that should be fine. Okay, so no such directory. Well, that's fair enough, but shouldn't you be generating one? Oh, if I lost my mind. Oh, hang on. So I have it, whatever this is. So I guess this is supposed to be an image. Yes. A .choc file. See? Yes. success. So I need to make sure that I save these things out correctly. So I know that screenshot.jpg kind of worked in that scenario. So there's definitely a better way of doing it. How did I save it out last time? Okay, so it's probably something to do. This probably doesn't like the date thing, so just gonna do is this together. Now there's obviously going to be a better way of me doing this. So obviously didn't like the date, probably because to do with strings and stuff, but as you can see, so we are doing this. So what's the timer on? Completely lost the timer. Okay, so 15 minutes. So this is going to be a slightly longer one. Damn, right. Okay, so we've successfully done this. So we're going to say now, so let's try and, okay, so let's just check the image out as we would. So now that we have the image, we can do an image source and then inside say echo. I could probably be a bit better about this. Actually, I don't even need to echo it. I can just literally say screenshot.jpg. Now, yeah, I know I should be saving this as a variable, which I will be doing. Don't worry. But and that's looking in localhost, so it always gets me this one. There we go. So there we go. So we have a render of Google. Excellent. Right. So now let's pause and set up our tunnel. I did have it on you. So I need to write. I do definitely have. There we go. Okay. There we go. So now I'm going to run ngrok. Say HTTP. Is it just 80? I think it's just 80. Yeah, probably should be a bit more careful about this. Fine. That's the thing, I'm gonna have this on a is this gonna work? Let's find out. I did have it on you. Okay. Okay, so now we have a little ngrok tunnel running, so we can now use our dad joke. We can now use the dad joke stuff on so now we have ngrok running. We can now essentially point the API flash URL to our dad joke URL, and that will generate the we can use that then to get the screenshot of the image, save it out, and then we can work on it later. So now I've got it. I've got this really sort of, so now that they got that, we have this, so I can use this localhost on this side. So essentially I want to use this and take this bit here, and I want to pop this at the end of here, and let's do it. And here we go. Okay, so it's using a slightly different font, but here we go. We've successfully shown our joke on the screen. So I think this is kind of a little bit big. When we go and we use it to post to Twitter, then it's going to need to be like a certain size for it to show properly. So I'm just going to look at some of the parameters we can use. So we can use width in pixels. So however, is that gonna, I wonder how that's gonna look, because obviously it's gonna use the viewport. Okay, no big deal. So it's a kind of a relatively big image. See, so see, it's kind of like bigger than the original screen was on. So I'm just gonna try and, so I'm gonna bring, how small can I bring this? So I can add now to these params. So I knew this would come in handy. Say width. I do want it to be kind of the full width of the screen. However, can I get it any smaller than the width of the screen? Because I can probably bring it down to, so let's have a look at the original one. So because it's kind of responsive, I can kind of, no, actually that's not going to make a difference. So let's bring this out. So I want to see how small I can kind of make this without kind of being an issue. So we can see that the well itself is about 1500. Yeah. Because ideally I wanted to sort of, okay, I'm gonna pass in an extra parameter, and I'm just gonna say, I'm gonna bring it down. Let's see what happens when I bring it down to 500. Now, it's probably not gonna be great, but let's have a look. Let's just see what happens. Yeah, so mind you, it's kind of sorted itself out in terms of that. So I could probably make this like 1000, and that would be fine. Maybe like I'll make the height 1,000 because I want to do this because when it comes to putting on Twitter, they have specific guidelines of what is better when you're posting a photo. So there we go. Now I like this joke because everybody kind of gets this joke wrong, so I'm really sort of chuffed with it. So we got 1,000 by 1,000. Look at that. So I could probably make that slightly smaller, but actually I quite like it at 1,000 by 1,000. But it's literally that easy to kind of get the image together. What I'd like to do maybe next time, I may do like a bonus one for this particular one, where I kind of look at how I, how I do this a bit nicer, and so that I'm not sort of hard coding this, because I'm guessing we're just overwriting the same picture, which isn't necessarily a bad thing if we're going to be sort of posting it to Twitter, because I guess we don't want to keep loads and loads and loads of copies of the photo. But yeah, maybe we'll see. But yeah, essentially we have a screenshot of our dad joke like that. Yeah, maybe. So what is that? Just trying to think of the dimensions of this. Let's just open this without go to find paint. So yeah, it was literally that easy. So I did kind of spend a lot of time looking for this one URL endpoint, and obviously it's kind of very sort of easy. It was very easy to kind of implement. I've done it in sort of 30 lines, and 5 or 6 of those lines are kind of my formatting. So yeah, everybody give this thing a go, and it's very straightforward. So thanks again, and have a good Monday.